Everybody, welcome to round number 3 of season 13 of Race Department. I'm your new commentator, V8 Field. You can call me Dan. It is time to start the Chinese Grand Prix with the Shanghai International Circuit, and what a grid we have here. If you've been in league racing for a long time, you are going to know a lot of these names, as we're all just readying up, getting ready to go into qualifying. I'll just have to tweet my link out so that people will know that I'm streaming. So I will just do that whilst the lobby is starting up and we're getting ready to get underway. Hopefully my microphone's working and everything. It should be. Okay, it definitely is. I've just loaded up my stream, but I will tweet the link out. There we go. And I'll just run through the championship order very quickly. 2-time podium sitter, he's had 2 consecutive second places. CRG Demon leads the championship by only 1 point to the Ferrari driver of Alex. He's currently got 1 win, but he finished in a lowly 5th place last race out on 35 points. Davidos in the Renault sitting just behind. He was last week's race winner. He's on 31 points and 1 point ahead of his teammate BDG Big C, who's had 2 podiums, both 3rd places, and the Haas of Shelley is in 4th position. He 5th position, my mistake, on 12 points, so it's a bit of a drop back from there, but we'll read the last driver out in the top 5. Never mind, that is the top 5. So it's going to be a good one. I'm quite flustered. I haven't really prepared all that much, but I've got some tabs open with Race Department results and such. Of course, I'll just run through last week's results. Davidos took the win for Renault, 20 points going back to France, and Demon in 2nd, BDG Big C in 3rd. It was a 1-2 for Renault, of course, but then after an inquiry from Demon, it saw him get a 3-second time penalty removed, which allowed for him to move up the grid order. I think he went from 5th place all the way up to 2nd, disrupting the 1-2 for Renault. All important points lost, and it was Raymond in 4th, 5th for Alex, 6th for Formula Jake, then Svander Bruges in 7th, 8th for Kian, Scrub in 9th, and Jared in 10th, as they're all firing up, getting underway. It's going to be a good race today. Let's just turn on the track map and see if we can find who's furthest out on track. Now that looks like a racing, but I've gone onto their profile. Oh dear. At the end of the race, I will also just let the race director, I'll show that up. Oh, for goodness sake, I've done it again. There we go, we should be okay here now. There's the furthest car up the road. That looks to be a Renault car. I've done it. Okay, they've changed the way that they've changed it, because you used to have to scroll down not too long ago to spectate someone. It's BDG Big C, the reigning champion. He won in season 12. He's returned to league racing after his short hiatus. He's back for season 2. Season 13, I don't quite know why I said season 2, but currently about he hits the bollard for good measure on the inside, and the Renault car is going to take us on a lap around China, coming up towards turn number 1. This long right-hander, difficult to get it perfectly right. There's yellow flag in sector 3. That's probably everyone just slowing down, but he's taking it nice and slow and tidy through here. A little bit of a lock-up coming in through turn number 3, but he's kept it all okay as he now is on the run-up to the end of the first sector and to the turn 5 hairpin. He's done a 23.6 through the first sector. He's got a McLaren just coming up ahead. That's either Danny or Will. We won't spectate them, but he's going to have to be careful of them just up ahead through now this S's section in the middle sector. Tricky to... He seems to be okay though, as he comes towards the end of the second sector, which is a 50.4. And he might get a little bit of a tow from this McLaren car up ahead. I think that's actually what they've planned here, because he's almost in the perfect position to give him the tow. It's Danny, and look at that, Connor's actually going to use a little bit of the slipstream. Almost smashing right into the back of the McLaren car of Danny, but he's kept it out of the rear of the car, and we'll go for a nice little off-board shot of that banana car, as it used to be called when it was completely all yellow. But up towards the end of his lap, towards the final corner, a little bit of a slide coming out of the hairpin there at the end of the long straight, but now a little bit of a correction there. It's going to be a 29.6 for Big C. The pole lap last season was a 30.5, so they're already beating that one out. Good time from Connor. It's going to be the benchmark for everyone else today, and I'm gonna definitely have to have some getting used to changing all of that as more laps come out. Alex, and right, this is really annoying me, as who should we follow as they're on a lap? Follow Will coming up towards the end of his lap in that McLaren car. No points for the McLaren right now, only 2 teams yet to score points, the Alfa Romeo being the other, as but he's got a little bit of a slipstream from the Alfa Romeo on the straight, almost cutting the final corner and getting a bit caught on the curbs there, but he's going to go second position. So Will slotting himself onto the front row of the grid. Good time from him so far, but of course it's not the end of qualifying yet. 2 Haas cars of Shelley and Demon, both strong in 4th and 5th. Demon just finished his lap with a 29.7. As Danny, let's see here, coming up towards the end of his lap, he didn't get a tow from anyone else up in front, but he's going to be able to use that DRS like everyone else is, almost cutting the hairpin corner there. He's kept it off the curbs too much there, but through the final corner he's gone off the track. Somehow he hasn't invalidated it, but still it's not the best time. 12th position for him. He goes behind the 2 Red Bull cars, Kian being a reserve driver, so he's nice enough to fill in, as Hasnain on a lap right now, coming towards the end of the first sector, 23.9. that is definitely slower than Big C's when he did his lap, so he's not going to be on for a pole lap as of yet, but it could all change in the middle sector through this flat out left-hander, switching it over to this short braking zone. We can lock up, but he's kept it. He's kept the discs rotating, so he's been okay through there. As coming towards the end of the second sector, what's his sector time going to be? It's a 50.9. That's 5 tenths off of Big C, so that would see him pretty far down the order actually, maybe in about 9th or 8th. Not terrible. Definitely will want to be higher up, but for that Alfa Romeo being inside the top 10, there's a Renault car going slowly up behind. That's either Davidos or, no, it's not a Renault car, because both of them are in the pit lane. We won't focus on that, as Hasnain coming towards the end of his lap into the hard braking zone. Second gear, trying to rotate the car perfectly. A slide once again. Everyone seems to be struggling in the traction zone out of there, and now through the final corner, the Alfa Romeo, the only car yet to set a lap, who is on a lap right now, and he goes 15th place, only ahead of B Colt, so not what he wants. He wants to be higher up there. He must have lost it all in the 3rd sector. Nervo thought he was on a lap, but he's actually on an in lap. We've got some cars coming in on their in laps. Most of the drivers are in the pits. Big C going to be the first one who's already set a lap to come out for another outlap. Something glitching with Alex, as oh dear, I don't know what happened there. B Colt's on a lap right now, 31.1. that is I don't want to say dreadful, but it's not a good lap. So can he improve on it? Well, we'll have to find out. He seems to be pushing lock up into the hairpin, as going to get a little bit of a tow maybe from the Williams car up ahead. It's not going to be significant. He's actually going to pull into the pit lane, but it's Jay Clarkey starting on his lap. What can he do in that Williams car? Well, we'll have to find out, as now through the first couple of corners, really slow section after this high speed right-hander, but it's a real contrast, a very difficult corner to get right, but he seems to be okay right now, as through the first sector split is purple. But of course, purple sectors don't mean everything. There is a glitch where it will appear purple, but it's not. But on a lap, as he files through, I'm not too good at commentating by myself. I'll maybe try and get a co-commentator next week to help with me, because I'm already starting to feel my voice go a little bit. Might have to go get a bit of water. But that's not the worry at the moment. The worry is, what can Jay Clarkey do on this lap? Well, he's done a 50 8.5 through the second sector. This is a good time from him, as Big C, who's currently sitting in third position, he's on a lap right now, so we'll follow along with him once he finishes, or actually follow along with Jared in the Mercedes. Yeah, we'll go along with him afterwards, blitzing it down the straight, using up all the ERS, opening the drag reduction system in that Williams car. It's a very slow car in real life, but it's nice and fast in these equal cars, getting first gear for a little bit of extra rotation, a little bit more turn in, and opening it up onto the final straight to now come onto the start finish straight to set his lap. It's second position for the Williams car. He takes Will off for the first row, and then Super Scrub goes 16th. What about Jared? Jared goes 10th fastest, as the next driver on a lap is Big C, and he's a 10th up on this time. This could maybe see him getting onto the front row of the grid. It can definitely see him getting onto the front row of the grid. Could see him on provisional pole. We've gone through 10 minutes, a little bit of a slide out the difficult traction zone, coming into the third sector and onto one of the longest straights on the calendar. He opened up the DRS a little bit late there. That might give him a little bit of time loss, but still, oh, he's actually backed off on this one. Right, I didn't notice that. Probably that slide discouraged him, and he might go for another run here, or he's just going to pull into the pit lane. He's going to pull into the pit lane, right? So who's the next car out on track? Looks to be a Ferrari car. Is that Alex? It is Alex. Well, he's actually got a car just up ahead of him, but we'll follow along with Alex. He won the first race. He got 5th last time out in Bahrain, as he can maybe try and extend on this gap that he has. It's about a 10th of a second, and he set the exact same time. Davidos in the Renault car goes first position, though. He won last time out. It would have been a 1-2 for the French team, but unfortunately for them, Demon got his penalty removed. And of course, not unfortunate for the Haas team, because it gave them all important points, but they're still not leading the championship. That does belong to Renault. And then it is the Haas team, the American team, in second position. Ferrari taking up third. That's the top 3 in the championship. So no Mercedes. They're currently sitting on 2 points, I believe, off the top of my head, so I'm going to want to improve on that one. We'll follow along with Shelley on the podium last time out. He came 3rd in China, that in season 12, that is, not last race. He actually didn't start the last race. We'll move on from that, because now he's going to set this lap and go onto the front row of the grid. It's a 2.5 tenth improvement for the Haas driver, and what a lap that was. They're getting closer to Davidos. Alex, who was sitting on provisional pole, now has dropped to the second row of the grid, and he's actually about to drop into the third row of the grid, so gonna want to improve on that lap. Where is he though? Well, he's in the he's just coming up to the third sector. He set the exact same time as he did before. Nervo going 2 tenths quicker. He goes into 5th position. Clarkey dropped to 6th, and Big C on an out lap right now. He was on a lap. There's Demon going into 2nd position. Good time from him. So second in the standings for them. For the American team, first in the standings for Demon. He's leading the championship. Can he get that win, or will he make it 3 second places on the trot? He hasn't won a race this season, of course. We are in the early stages. The only 2 winners of a race is Davidos and Alex. Currently on pole right now is Davidos, and then Alex sitting in 5th, where he finished in Bahrain last time. Where's Bullet right now? Bullet's on an invalid run. Right, he was on a flying lap. He's one of the only drivers yet to put in a lap. B-Colt was, we weren't watching. He did improve by 4 tenths on that lap, but it wasn't enough to move ahead of anyone. He sits in 19th position, the last of the runners to put in a lap. See if we can find anyone on a run right now. I guess, no, Jim's just using up his ERS. Big C is on a lap right now in that Renault car. 2 consecutive 3rd positions. Can he make it a 3rd, or will he might higher up on the grid? Well, he's only 0.02 of a second up on his time right now. That won't see him move too far up the grid. Could see him into 6th though, so that is a whole row improvement. So every bit of time counts, but I think he would want to get a little bit more. He was 1.5 tenths up on his previous run before making a difficult mistake in the tricky traction zone. Let's hope he can rectify that one and move up the grid. Let's see his time here. Oh, he's 2/10 up, almost 3/10. That is almost on for a pole time. Bit of lag coming out here from him. I don't know if that's me or him riding on board with him, and it's nice to see that we get to look at their own helmets, giving it a little bit of personality to their drivers. We're not just seeing it would be in this case Esteban Ocon's helmet, because he's number 2 driver at the moment. We'll move past that through the hairpin, bit of a lock up, but he's okay for the time being. As now to cross the line, what can Connor do on this lap? Well, we'll have to find out. As now on the run up to the line, he goes on provisional pole by 2/10 ahead of his teammate Renault, currently locking out the front row, and that is strong from the French team. And I've done the same thing again. There we go. I do apologise, I haven't got any water on me. I don't know where my bottle... Oh, I've left it upstairs. Right, once the session's over, I'm going to quickly run upstairs, grab my drink, my water, and then I'll come back. Clarky, it just showed up a purple sector 2 for the Williams car, currently sitting on the 4th row of the grid in 8th position. What can he do? Only 5/10 off of pole, so it's still all to play for. Up towards the hairpin, he's actually backed off on this run. He was pushing, but he's turned down the ERS into none, so he's not going to put on a lap this time. What about Jared though in the 3rd sector? He's in 11th position right now. That will give him a free set of tyres, but track position can mean everything. Is now on the run up to the line, out the final corner. Can Jared improve? Yes, he can. He goes 7th fastest. I believe Carbon Fiber's next up to put in a lap. He's pushing right now, but he's 400ths down on his time, so it won't be lighting up the timing screen, but it could at least put him further up on the grid if he can improve in the 3rd sector. We'll have to find out. As now through the final corner, getting onto the curb on exit, and the shortest run up to the line possible. Can he improve? He does improve, but only by 100th of a second. He can't move further up the grid. What about SJM? Where's he? Oh, he's down on his time through the 1st sector. It looks like there's been a spin from a racing point, or they're all just going a bit slow on their outlaps. As over 10th up for SJM at the moment. Can he improve on his time? We've only got 2 minutes left, so if you're in the pits, you're going to have to get a move on and get out as soon as possible, because you haven't got much time to put on a lap, fresh set tyres, and then run again. But we'll move past that, because SJM currently about to finish this one, locking up as everyone seems to be doing into the final hairpin up towards the last corner of the circuit in that number 9 car. Oh, he comes into the pits. Brilliant. Bankai Bullet not lighting up the time screens with that sector time of 51.2. Maybe he can find some time in the 3rd sector. One of the only drivers to put in, the only driver to not put on a lap right now. What can he do as he comes down the straight, opening DRS a little bit delayed there. He's got a racing point just up ahead of him. That could give him a little bit of a tow, but not much, because there's quite a distance between those 2 cars. As Big C retires from the session, he thinks he can get pole. He didn't have enough time to get out on an outlap and put in a lap to perhaps improve on that one. As it's last position for Bullet right now. It's going to be his only opportunity at a run. He can't get around in time to put in another lap, so it's last position for the Mercedes car. What about Davidos, currently sitting in 2nd position right now? We're going to see a lot of times come out now as they all begin their final runs. The clock is ticking down. Carbon Fiber's retiring. He can only get into 13th position, but here comes Davidos up to the line. Can he snatch pole off his teammate? He cannot. He was just 2,000 slower on that run through the 1st sector. Big C, he's got the rev glitch, which was really annoying. Slower as well. No one seems to be able to touch Big C at the moment. It could be a 2nd pole in a row. He took pole by 3/100ths of a second last time out in Bahrain. Could be 2 pole positions for him. We're going to have to go off of that Haas car, because that is a horrifying sound. There we go. Up towards the hairpin. Demon finishing his run, the championship leader. Can he get past Big C? The clock has struck 0, so you cannot start another lap. but up towards the line through the final corner. Has Demon found enough time to maybe snatch pole? He hasn't. He's 100th down. Will is slower through the first sector, but he's just coming up to the sector split at the moment. So can he maybe find a little bit of time through that sector? He can. Not a lot, but it is still something. It could mean all the difference when it comes to getting grid position. So far he is quicker than Shelley, who does not improve on that run. So the top four all not being able to improve on their final runs. Alex also is on a run at the moment. He's actually closer to the line. Dan and Will, they're running head to toe at the moment, or tail to head, I guess, as Alex just up ahead of him. No one else putting in a lap before the Ferrari driver. He won the first race in Australia. Can he snatch pole from Big C here? We'll have to find out, as now he crosses the line at second position, so he cannot displace him as Will actually jumps onto the front row. Purple final sector, but still not quicker. He's 1.5 hundredths. That's 15 milliseconds off of Big C. The gaps are minuscule here, and I think that is the end of qualifying because Davidos isn't pushing. So just quickly, I'm going to take a breather, maybe mute my mic and cough a bit because I'm not used to commentating by myself. Hello everyone, as everyone just pulls into the pit lane to finish off their run. They're all coming into the box, and there's a Haas car that is pulling in right now. Got one comment, I will read that out, and I really do want to get a drink of water because I've already strained my voice so much. It's only qualifying. Should be dry, should be all dry for the race, right? So we're going to have a dry session, and there is the qualifying order. A British front row lockout, the Renault car of Big C with a second pole in a row. He takes first position, Will in second, then Alex in third, fourth for Davidos, Demon in sixth, and Shelley in sixth. Demon's in fifth, Shelley's in sixth. That's a third row lockout for the Haas team. Then Danny in seventh. The McLaren car is doing pretty well at the moment, actually. Could maybe score their first points. Jared in 8th, 9th for Nervo, and then Clarkey rounding out the top 10, so getting a free choice of tyre for the rest of the drivers. That's Kian, Formula Jake, Dan the Snake, Carbon Fibre, then Hasnain in 15th. Yambanator in 16th. So the Alfa Romeos not far up the grid. SJM in 17th, and then I'll read out the rest once I get my drink. I will be back in just one moment, everyone. I am back. I've got my drink, so hopefully my voice won't die on me. They're all just adjusting their strategies. Turning on my light now. Just one sec. There we go. Grey skies up ahead, but we have been told that it is a dry race. There's a predicted pit stop strategy. Soft too hard for them today. Lap 6 is an early pit stop. These softs do not last very long. Let's see what tyre everyone has opted for, and you can see there's a stark contrast between the top 10 and the rest of the grid. No one outside the top 10 has fitted the soft tyre, the Red Bulls, whereas the top 10, they have to start on the tyre they qualified on. We've already got disqualification 4 drivers out of the formation lap, and that is disaster for B Colt and Bankai Bullet, because they're on the hard tyre, which means it's going to be a lot more difficult to generate heat, and so they really did need this formation lap, but they're going to be on the back foot off the get-go. I need to learn with commentating that I can't strain my voice, because then this happens. I'm just going to take off my jumper because it's a bit hot. Alright, that's better. I'm a little bit cooled off. Look at that. There's a thick mist covering up the cars behind there. You can see how a lot of these drivers are actually holding back a lot more, which means the more time that Big C spends on the front row, the colder his tyres get. Interestingly enough, everyone else is warming the tyres. He's just going in a straight line. He's almost being smashed into by Will behind. Interesting there. They are going to be taken over by the AI car very soon. Danny's been disqualified from the formation lap. Shouldn't affect him too much because he is right at the end when he got disqualified, so his tyres won't be cooled down too much. Still won't be ideal starting from 7th position. Everyone's going to have that little bit more heat in the tyres and a bit more grip around him. We'll have to find out how he fares once we get underway, as they just line up. We're waiting for them to line up. It's Yaminator in that Alfa Romeo who will be the last one to get onto the grid, and then we will get ready for the start of the Chinese Grand Prix. So as the Alfa Romeo car has pulled into the box now, everyone else is getting undisqualified as we're going to get ready for the race start. It's the moment we've all been waiting for. 5 red lights are on and they are out very quickly. We are underway here in China for round number 3, and it's a really good getaway from Will. He jumps Big C coming in towards turn number 1. Big C had a bad start. Here comes Alex on the outside of Davidos now into turn number 2. Davidos is trying to go up the inside of his teammate. There's a little bit of contact between them there, as now they're 3 wide behind. Alex has got by Davidos, but now they still run side by side coming out of the exit of turn number 4 up towards the hairpin. Davidos gets by as now they're all swapping positions further back in the pack, but it's Will with the great getaway. He leads from Big C, then Davidos in second, Clarkey and Nervo going side by side there. It looks like Nervo's got the best of the Williams cars. Now they're all squabbling for position further back behind. Here comes Formula Jake side by side with Kian. He's losing out by quite a lot as his teammate down the sneaks up the inside side of him. That's actually Super Scrub there as they follow along now. Here comes Big C. He's actually caught up a little bit. It was a second gap between Will and Big C throughout the first sector split, so it was a bad getaway from the Renault car, but Will with the ultimate start. He moves up ahead of everyone else as we'll just have a look at the detail right now. Who's the biggest mover? Super Scrub. Wow, 6 positions off that line from him. What tyres is he on? He's on the medium tyres as is squabbling behind. I think we've lost someone from this race. That might be SJM spun around. He's got wing damage and he's missing an end plate there. He's got a pit there. He can't stay out on track because Nervo gets by Jared now. I've done the same thing again. As we saw, Nervo actually did lose out to Jared though. As Big C, is he gone? Is he in the pits? What's happened to Big C? I was told just it's all lagging actually. Okay, it's nothing big. I thought we lost Big C from this race. That would have been disaster for the Renault team, the current constructors leaders. And he's I think he's in 4th. He's in 4th definitely. As oh, this is a timing screen glitch. As everyone pulls through the first sector split on the second lap, it puts the guys who haven't gone through the sector ahead for some reason. So SJM will be in the lead for a little bit, but he's not in the lead. It is Will leading at the moment as Kian and Yambinator go side by side there. Kian moving up into 15th position ahead of the Alfa Romeo car. It's been a bad start from the Alfa Romeo team. They're 16th and 17th at the moment. as SGM should be going through the first sector at the moment, very shortly. But oh, look at that, Connor's already derating at this point. No DRS as of yet. We have to wait for lap 3 for that. It does say lap 3, but I can assure you we are on lap number 2. As the time screen will be a little bit glitched. There we go. As now we see the correct timing. I guess Nervo gets by Jared. They're side by side here. Nervo coming up the inside. He moves into 8th position ahead of Jared there. Jared tried making a move into the final corner. That would have been a very bold move from the Mercedes driver. But you have to take these risks when you want to go for position. As the race seems to be settling down just a little bit. No real challenges at the moment for the lead. Carbon Fiber feeling the pressure from Super Scrub. He's charged up the order. He started 18th, now in 12th. These two seem to have come through the grid together, almost. We're on board with the Racing Point car, trying to move up the grid. He's got Danny ahead of him. He seems to be in the same position he started in, so that's good news from the McLaren car. McLaren currently getting really good points out here today, 1st and 7th. You got one guy winning the race, that being Will, and then Danny in 7th, so it's a bit of a Verstappen Albon story. Is oh no, goes late on the brakes and he's got damage on that car. I've got a runny nose for some reason, or my nose is getting a bit blocked, but he goes deep on the brakes, hits the back of Danny there, and he's going to have to come into the pits for a wing change, and now that's allowed Jared to get right on to that BWT sponsored rear wing. DRS is open, but look at that, using up all the DRS he can is Noah, and he's pulling away on the straight. And what's he going to do here? Is he's going to send it down the inside. That was a rash move if I've ever seen one, and that might have given Danny some wing damage. But Nervo, what was he thinking there? As you know, he's going to come into the pit lane now. I don't quite know why he did that. Maybe just to get him to annoy Danny or something. I don't know. Nevertheless, he moves up the position, and now Formula Jake and Carbon Fiber coming to blows. Formula Jake overtaking the Red Bull car. He moves down the order whilst we weren't watching. Super Scrub got by. He moved into 10th position, as now SJM's gone again. It's the same place he lost it before. And he's retired on track. I don't think that will cause a safety car to come out, but I'm not sure what the rule is about that. Most leagues have it so you have to retire in the pit lane just so you don't get in the way of any cars. He's done it in a place where he's got no cars around him, and that Ferrari's going to pull off the circuit very soon, so shouldn't be too much of an issue. I need to blow my nose or something, but I can't because I'm on stream. We'll watch Clarkey. He wants to get by Jared. He's got a poor run out the corner though. Big C might be trying to make a challenge though on Will. He's definitely going to try and close up. He's used up a lot of ERS, both of these guys on pretty low ERS. Davros the lowest of them all. Alex has been saving his ERS. He's on 65%, 67, so he's gaining it through the track, through the brakes, not using it up, just trying to save it, stay the DRS off the Renault car, and maybe get ahead. Of course, Demon, he's going to be feeling the pressure from him behind, as now Jared, the first of the drivers to get a time penalty on lap number 5. We will see the soft runners coming to the pit soon, and that will unleash Super Scrub and Formula Jake. Oh, they're actually fighting, Formula Jake and Super Scrub. There goes Jake up into 10th position, the final points paying position, only 1 point, but every point matters for that AlphaTauri team. So Super Scrub, he's been a bit halted here and almost drops it in the traction zone somehow in 5th gear. So I don't quite know how he's done that, but luckily he saved it well there, but he lost so much time to Jake. He's got pretty much no ERS in that Williams car. He might be a bit vulnerable to Carbon Fiber behind. Carbon Fiber sitting in 12th position. It's not a good position where you want to be, but you just have to find a way to get by, as Big C is right on the rear of Will on lap number 5, coming into the 3rd sector, and he'll be right behind up towards the line, up towards the hairpin and you'd like to think he's going to try to make a move. These guys are both conserved as much ERS as possible, and they're going to blitz it down the straight, using up all the ERS possible. Big C not going to get into the slipstream of the McLaren car, and he's not going to try and make a move, because look at how much ERS Will has used. You can't win the race on lap number 5. So just don't send a move now. Maybe try and save the ERS and attack later on in the race when he's vulnerable. Is he going to come into the pit lane? Yes, he will. Will into the pits. Has anyone else followed? Davidos has, and Alex. So the first of the pitters to come in now for the soft tyres. They're going to fit on the hards to run to the end of the Grand Prix. They will be struggling towards the end, but for now they're going to have great grip. Once the hard tyres come up to heat, and look at how close Alex was to that Williams car of Clarkey. Demon now finds himself in second position behind Big C. Big C's got a nice big gap. Nervo gets a time penalty. He won't be too far behind any of the cars here. He's actually come out ahead of Yambanator. Not miles off of Clarkey, but of course it is not ideal. He might have to pit later on in the Grand Prix, as he made his pit stop a lot earlier than everyone else. Only about a lap earlier, so not the end of the world for the Williams car. Formula Jake will be in the lead once Jared comes in, and all the cars up ahead. So Jake's found himself in a really strong position right now. He can go later on in the Grand Prix, still fit the hard tyres on, and then run to the end on that slightly less worn rubber. He's allowed to push a lot harder, and he's going to go right up to the rear wing of Jared, tuck out the slipstream, and now here he comes down the straight to make the move on him into the braking zone. They come up the inside through there, and he's got the move into 5th position. Jared slipping down into 6th. Big C comes into the bits. He had to do that to cover off the undercut from Will, trying to extend the gap, as Shelley is forced to stay out, as his teammate Demon, they were right up to each other on track, so he couldn't come into the box, because he wouldn't have been able to. He would have been held up right here behind the Jackman, as Demon not going at the moment. He might have got a little bit held up, or there's a bit of lag there, as where has Will come out? Will's come out ahead of Big C, and they've actually got a car between them. And since he's not a lapped car, despite Bankai Bullet being he effectively lost position right now, this is 4th position. He's not being lapped, so he can defend if he, by all means, he can defend if he wants against Big C here. As further back behind, Demon finds himself in the clutches of Alex. Alex moves ahead of the Haas driver, who got 2nd position last time out. He's had 2 second positions in a row. It doesn't look like he's going to get there right now. He's running provision in a net P5. Shelley's going to have to come to the pits soon. Oh, Danny's lagged out. Danny's out the session, and that's disaster for McLaren. They've yet to score points, and that won't help them in their campaign, as they've lost a driver now. Meanwhile, up ahead, Scrub and Jared coming to blows, I think. Well, it was Jared and Carbon Fiber is now trying to go up the inside of Super Scrub. It's actually Super Scrub losing out, getting ahead of Jared, and now Jared comes into the pit lane, going to take off those soft tyres. One of the last drivers on the soft, Shelley the other, 2 coming to the pit lane. Meanwhile, Bankai Bullet and Big C fighting, and look at that. As I said, Bankai Bullet is going to fight for this position. He's not going to come into the pits yet. He's on the hard tyres. He's got plenty of life left in them. He can go onto the soft right at the end, as now Big C has to get by here. He cannot afford to be held up by the Mercedes car. He's going to try and swoop around the outside into turn number 1. What a move there from Big C. Can he hold it though, as yellow flag through sector 3, and it's a virtual safety car coming out. That will help Jared close up, because everyone's going to have to be going slower. As he comes out the pit lane, it won't be a massive amount of time gain there, but crucially for Big C, he found himself ahead, and Danny's back in the session, so his race isn't over, and he's right behind Clarkey, but he would be much further up the grid if that was the case, as now we're just waiting for the virtual safety car to go away. Davidos now has to find himself getting past Bankai Bullet, Otherwise, it is disaster for the Renault team because they won't be able to catch up to Will and snag a win off the McLaren car. I've just dropped my water bottle lid. I do apologise. There's now the safety car. The virtual safety car has come. It's stopped now, and that is a drive-through penalty for CRG Demon. He's going to have to serve that, so no way of him actually getting that removed. Since you served it in the race, you can't get it removed. That's how it works with most leagues, and now there's no intervals, which is annoying. But look at this, Alex, who saved up so much ERS through that stage of the race. He's right behind Davidos right now. Davidos in the slipstream, and ERS and DRS of Bank High Bullet. It's going to have to be a mighty lunge if he wants to get by here on the Renault car, and Alex doesn't want to make that risk. He just tucks in behind. He got a championship that he's fighting for, but his championship rival right now 1 point separating these two in the opposite order that they're running in right now. Demon has 1 point more than Alex, but of course he might not know that Demon has this time penalty or this drive-through penalty, and Bank High Bullet losing out now. It's pretty much driving into the Renault car, and Davidos not be happy about that one, but Davidos moves ahead of Bank High Bullet, and now Alex is the next one to try and get by here. I'm running out of water, so hopefully we have a safety car for making the race interesting, one, and for the sake of my throat. Maybe I should get vocal lessons as a Demon trying to fight with Alex here. Alex having none of it, and now he's going to slip up the inside in a place you wouldn't normally see it pass. He runs deep on the brakes, but he makes the move, and now Demon's trying to go around the outside of Bank High Bullet, who's really slipping down the order. It's Shelley to try and get by next into the braking zone. Oh, he runs deep, and he almost goes straight into the back of his teammates. That could have been a 2018 Baku scenario where the Red Bulls made contact in the braking zone, as I see a really small gap up ahead. For some reason my spectator menu glitched, so I can't see that. Kian gets ahead of Dan the Snake for 4th position. Of course, they won't stay there for too long because they have to come into the pit lane and fit on the hard tyres, the medium tyres actually, later on in the Grand Prix, or the softs if they desire, but for the sake of their tyres I might go on the mediums, I think. If you really just want to push throughout the entire race. The guys ahead though, Jake, Scrub and Carbon Fibre, all running on the medium tyres. They've been on this tyre since the start of the race. They really would like a safety car right now, because they can fit on the hards, run 18 laps towards the end of the Grand Prix, and that is a easy job to do. If these guys can go on from lap 5 onto the hards all the way to the end of the race, then those guys can do it a piece of cake. As a Bank High Bullet finally comes into the pit lane to fit the mediums, I don't think they'll last 18 laps. To be honest, he might have a bit of wing damage. That might be why he came into the pit lane, but his race really not going to according to plan right now. Danny has actually lost the position to Jared, and he's left again. Oh no, I've just got on board with him and he's disconnected. So the McLaren car out of the Grand Prix. He's done from this one, unless he can get back in the car. Hopefully he's got another invite so he can get through, get back in. Will right on the back of B Colt right now, who's yet to pit from his hard stint. He's been on this tyre since the start of the race, so it's going to be a bit of a game of dodgems for on the out, because then that will allow for him to maybe catch up to Will and slip by. He lost out in the pit stop phase by that undercut from Will, so maybe it would have been smart for Big C to box the same as him. As Demon comes into the pit lane to serve his drive-through penalty. Really is a detriment to his race as Damn the Snake losing it out the traction zone there. Good save from him though. Alex right up to the back of Davidos here. A little bit too far back to maybe try it in the hairpin, unless he wants to go for a crazy lunge. I do apologise, the internet quality is apparently not sufficient enough to broadcast gameplay. I hope this stream is still on. Oh, it does say that we are on air, so maybe I'll turn off my phone's internet. That will help. I should charge my phone, it's actually quite low battery. As who's fighting on track right now? No one seems to be fighting. Everyone else just in the middle of their stints. Not much really happens through here. Once we get into the pit stop phase for the guys who haven't pitted, then we'll see some battles on track. But right now, your running order for the net lead is Will. in that McLaren car. He's not had the best start to the season. No points on board that British team for either car, actually. Danny as well hasn't scored points, so this is really going to be a shift in the tide for them. Everything seems to be falling into place for Will, in accord with the traffic, as now Down the Snake and Carbon Fibre actually fight, and Carbon Fibre pulls into the pit lane to take off his medium tyres. He's going to go on to the end on the hards. That could mean that Super Scrub and Formula Jake might also want to make a pit stop and take off their yellow wall tyres. It's going to be the white walls for Carbon Fibre. He gets a fast pit stop there. I would actually like to see, maybe in a future update, if we can see a pit stop timer, because then we can see how fast a pit stop is. I mean, they show it in the actual race. Apparently for this game we were supposed to have some crazy AWS graphics, so all we've seen is the predicted tyre strategy, and Hasname really being a thorn in the backside for Will as he's holding up just a little bit. B Colt is holding up Big C though, especially through this tight through this twisty S section where dirty air, which is a lot more effective in this game, is going to be vital, and Connor will want to get by. It's going to be 3 podiums in a row as it is right now, unless he makes a mistake. He's got a big gap back to his teammate, who's feeling the pressure from Alex and Shelley. There seems to be equal gaps between those 3 cars. Just about separated by 1.5 seconds is Dabados and Shelley, so not much time between these two. Look at this. Oh, Alex running pretty deep into the corner, actually. He's a bit wide up ahead as Will gets by Hasna. You can see in the distance. And Big C going to pull to the outside of B Colt. Is B Colt going to fight? This is... well, he's going to fight definitely harder than Will did earlier on, as now Super Scroll comes into the pit lane. I do apologise for the black little box there. It's Danny professing his frustrations with the game. I won't say what he said, but he's not happy with how F1 is acting right now. He's obviously not lost connection to his internet since he can message, but unfortunate from him there. We've got a rev glitch, which is still in the game for B Colt. He's actually, at this point in the race, we've done 12 laps so far on this tyre. We're not even halfway through actually at this point, so we've got quite a long way to go. Plenty of opportunities for the drivers to make mistakes. Only one medium runner, Formula Jake, yet to pit, so he's trying to extend that stint as much as he can to maybe go on to the softs. I don't think he will. He'd have to make 8 more laps on the mediums to at least have a somewhat viable soft strategy, because they hardly last around here. Maybe with the colder temperatures they might have a little bit more. I assume there's colder temperatures because of the clouds up ahead. Hasnain did tell me in the chat that there will be no rain throughout the race. It should stay dry. Look at this. B Colt giving a DRS to Dabados here, so that is really going to save him against Alex, because without that DRS, but Alex is smart about this, saving his DRS. So is Shelley, so they're all being very clever about how they're acting here. And now B Colt runs really deep into the hairpin. Kian and Formula Jake pitting at the same time. Interestingly enough, Kian pitting a little bit earlier than I would have thought. He's the first of the hard runners to start from bank a bullet to come in, as Jared getting another 3-second time penalty. That's another one of his day. But if he didn't get any more warnings, and he had a warning that he didn't quite like, I don't know, that he might have thought is unfair, he can get that removed. That's what Demon did. He got forced off by Dawados last time out in Bahrain, and he wasn't reporting Dawados at all. But oh, look at this. Speaking of Dawados trying to make a move into the hairpin, and B Colt really defending this one hard despite the fact that he's not pitted yet. Kind of what Roman Grosjean did in Hungary when we went there in real life, and now around the outside of the flat out left-hander. And look at that, Alex is just being able to slip right by, and I say that. B Colt gets the elbows out, and now here comes Shelley up the inside of Alex here on the run-up to the braking zone. It's Shelley moving ahead of Alex. Alex gonna maybe try and make it switchback, and he can't get the move there. So Shelley moving ahead, and now B Colt's just let him by. Alex will be furious, and now B Colt slips right in front of Alex there. And that really will not be helping Alex at all here. But it's 4th position, so all's fair. It's not like B Colt is being lapped. B Colt maybe going to try and make a dive bomb? No, he's not. He's going to lock up heavily though. He's using up all his ERS. As Damn the Snake now comes into the pit, and that unleashes Will into the lead of the Grand Prix. Hasnain also comes into the box, so Davados not going to have any more traffic up ahead of him, as Alex can't find a way past. B Colt, the last of the hard runners, the last driver to not even make a pit stop yet. He's really just playing here to hold up Alex. Currently fighting for the championship right now, but then Demon is really far back right now. He's currently running in 14th position, as he loses out to Damn the Snake there. So bad race going on for Demon, especially since he wasn't able to make a pit stop. It wasn't a stop-go penalty. But that is the gap between the leaders, 3.5 seconds. Can maybe Big C find a way to get that gap down? He's got no traffic up ahead of him. It's just clean air between him and Will. And he's lost out a little bit through the braking zone there, as now they unleash it onto the straight. B Colt still holding up Alex. He's got Jay Clarkey for company right now. This is the fight for a net P5. As Jay Clarkey, you're going to use up a lot of his ERS actually. B Colt does get DRS on Shelley. Interesting from him there. And look at that, Alex cannot catch at all. He's going to go really deep on the brakes. Might hit the back of him there. Clarkey also goes late on the brakes. And there's a 3-second time penalty straight, not for multiple warnings. A straight 3-second time penalty for B Colt. And wow. And if you're seeing that black little box on the screen, that is Nervo, who has retired from this race. He brought out the virtual safety car. He's saying that he had big lag, and he was sorry if he hit anyone. Well, I did see him hit someone. He hit Danny earlier on. Danny out of this race. I could maybe invite him back, but I don't know if I'm allowed to invite him back. And oh, this is so unfortunate, because look, now Alex, who's still trying to find a way past the racing point, he can't get by. A mobile chicane is what I'd use to describe B Colt right now. We got the red glitch with him. I hate when you try and go for the helicopter shot like this. It puts you still on board with the car. Very annoying. Obviously not a huge pain, but look at that. He's lost 1.6 seconds on his fastest lap. Surely now he'll get by in the DRS, which B Colt does not have the luxury of using. He's been especially so on this lap, because he was about 9/10 behind Shelley last time. And Alex, he's really frustrated here. B Colt using up all of his ERS. He's got nothing left. And Alex trying to go to the inside. He's been completely covered off by B Colt. Finally, about 3 laps after. That's B Colt almost wiping out Clarkey there. And Clarkey gets by. B Colt cannot defend. Demon and Carbon Fiber battling right now. Demon trying to go to the outside into the hairpin. Can't get by. Jared now gets past, and that will just be annoying Alex even more, as B Colt's still trying to fight this. He slipped up the inside of Jared. I don't quite know what B Colt... That was a voice crack. We moved past it though. I've now officially run out of water I could really do with the safety car. Really and truly, I think I might actually just have to take a quick break, because it won't make the stream good. I shouldn't take a break, but I've strained my voice. I will do so in a minute, because there goes Demon into the hairpin to finally get past Carbon Fiber on his charge through the field. And I'm getting PlayStation messages from a chat that's not even a part of this, and that's really annoying, because it's just going to cover up the entire screen. As I think Carbon Fiber's gone. Yeah, he spun through the S's section. I'm a bit nasally at the moment. I do apologise. Let's see, Shelley and Davidos towards the hairpin. Will Shelley try and dive it? Not likely. And yeah, he's just going to stick behind the rental car, save up from ERS. Formula J, because had a really good race right now. gets by B Colt, and B Colt almost, like, you can see there's tyre marks from the wheel spin there. Surely he's got to come into the pits. He's done 16 laps on these tyres. He has to come in soon. Everyone else fitted the medium tyres for the drivers who started on the hards, but not him, as Danny loses the position to Yaminator. Yaminator making his way up the position. No points again for Alfa Romeo at this point. Carbon Fiber, what was that line, my son? He just completely shagged the last corner. Shelley, though, trying to fight for P3, getting all those all-important points for Haas. They will be dropping a lot of points, will the Haas team, if Demon doesn't find himself getting to the points. It's not a million miles away. It's about 5 seconds up the road, maybe 6 seconds, 7. Positions in this race. He started in 18th, and now he's all the way up into 10th. So it's been a great race from the Williams driver. As we move through the laps, we're coming up to 10 to go, and the gap between Will and Big C has not changed. And Big C's been pushing loads, Will not as much. He's still using some ERS, but Big C had nothing on the straight there. He's pushing with all he can to get by. And unfortunately he's not catching up. And there Carbon Fiber gets the penalty after he spun. I'd imagine one of those warnings came from him absolutely demolishing the final corner. Shelley closing right up to the back of Davidos. He seems to be catching in the back-to-back DRS straights, but then he loses it out through the second sector, and the first sector for that matter, as he's a little bit too far back here. He loses a lot of time in that traction zone, I've seen, just visually on the circuit. Doesn't show up on the time screen as much. He goes deep on the brakes, or almost going straight into the back of Davidos. As a little bit of a slide coming out the corner there, getting a bit too trigger happy on the throttle. Just a slight wiggle, wouldn't cost him too much though. As Super Scrub right onto the back of B Colt right now. That will be another position game for him, because B Colt is yet to pit. Will he maybe try and semi up the inside through it? No, not quite. B Colt still got a rev glitch with him. Kian really getting up to the back of Super Scrub here though. Not an overtaking opportunity through here, but Super Scrub is going to try it on B Colt. The gap wasn't really there. Luckily they didn't make contact, and Super Scrub didn't go right into the rear wheel of B Colt. That could have ended both of their races if the damage was severe enough. And as we're watching that, Shelley moves past Davidos here into the braking zone, as he moves really deep on the brakes though, as side by side coming up to the final corner. This is for third position. Neither driver, I believe, has a penalty, as now Davidos loses the position to Shelley, but he's maybe going to try and fight this back on the run up towards turn number 1. Can he make it? He switches it to the outside, the left hand side of the track. Will he try and swoop round? He's going to go Davidos. They're side by side still now. Can they maybe go side by side up towards the hairpin, as Davidos holds on to third position as now, but it's not over, because Shelley's got the inside line for the hairpin. Here they come into the braking zone at the 100-meter board. Who has got the position? It's Shelley in the Haas car, moving ahead of Davidos. That is damage limitation for the Haas team in the constructors fight. What a move from Shelley, and what a battle from Davidos and Shelley. Wow. So that will be 2 consecutive podiums at China. He was third position last time out here in season 12. He's third position here in season 13, and that was a great fight there. Davidos did all he could, and he even looked like he was going to get by. They both used up so much ERS, and that has brought Alex right into this fight. Wow. What a battle that was, and it is still not over in the field, as now Kian, who's found himself getting by Super Scrub and Dan the Snake, as trying to go around the outside there, 3 wide through here, and that was inevitable. B Colt has been spun around. Trying to run 3 wide through there is never going to work. Demon slips up into 12th position, Hasnain into 13th, and now B Colt, that must be a sign for him to pit. He's done 21 laps. Well, actually, 20. He's coming up to 20 laps because he's a lap down. No, he's not a lap down. But Kian moved ahead of Super Scrub and Dan the Snake, so he was the real capitalist on that one. He capitalised perfectly, and I think, oh dear, B Colt with his worn out tyres, he's into the wall. He's not got damage on that racing point. He might be retiring from this one. There he goes, he retires on track, and hopefully Bullet Boy Banco, well, Bankai Bullet actually doesn't go into the back of him. Seems to be okay there, but now he's going to come into the pit lane. Oh, he's way off from anyone else, so might as well just do it. Meanwhile, in the fight for third, it's not over yet, because still hanging on in his onto the coattails of Shelley is Davidos and Alex. And of course, if one of these guys gets a penalty, their race will be completely unravelled. They'll probably fall down to about 7th, because Clarkey and Jared is still there too. They are in this 5-car train at the moment, and they're all different teams. That is nice to see. As sorry Jamie, I'm doing comms right now. As I've made the party private, he's left. He joined my party, right, that's okay. As look at that. For some reason, B Colt's car has gone through the pit lane, as Carbon Fiber gets probably his 3rd or 4th penalty in this race. That is quite something from him there. I didn't know that my party wasn't private, that's my fault to be fair. Right, I'm a little bit embarrassed by that actually, because that is just commentating 101. You don't leave your party open. As I do need to fill up my water bottle, because my voice is still dying, but I might as well just do it after the race, because we've not got long to go. 7 laps remaining, we're coming up to 6 to go. Will has still got this gap of 4 seconds to Connor, so Will's really been in control of this race. He's led every lap, despite Connor being on pole position for the 2nd race in a row. It is going to be the win for Will if he can hold on here, if he doesn't make a mistake, or maybe gets a penalty. Of course, he's not in the perfect. He's not out. He's not in the clear. He's not in the clear yet. But it's not over though. It is not over for Big C. He's just got to keep persevering, because look at that, he's got a 6-second gap back to Shelley. He can get penalties and still hold on though, so he can push all he likes, but of course might not want to do that, as he goes deep on the brake. Is Davidos trying to make up for the loss of position. Kian and Dan the Snake fighting. Dan the Snake moving up into 9th position. 8th and 9th for AlphaTauri right now. Big gap between those two, about 5 seconds. So Formula Jake in a good position, so is Dan the Snake. Decent points for them. They're getting how many points is it? Was 4 points for 8th, 2 for 9th, so 6 points coming home to AlphaTauri, which is all important in their championship fight, because I believe they are on level pegging with Red Bull. I'll have to look at that one. If I can just find my phone. Oh, there it is. Whilst I'm doing that, I'll keep going with the commentary. Shelley's still trying to hold on from Davidos there, and just to let you know, they are actually on 18 points, so they're 4th in the standings right now. I'll just have a quick rundown on the constructors after the race. Well, it's not going to make any much difference after the race, because it would have been changed. So Renault leading the championship on 61 points, Haas on 48 in 2nd, then 3rd for Ferrari on 35, 18 for AlphaTauri in 4th, 5th for Red Bull, they're on 12, Williams also on 12 and 6th, and 7th for Racing Point, they're on 4, and 8th is Mercedes on 2 points, and the rest are on none. The rest being McLaren and Alfa Romeo. It doesn't look like it's going to be staying that way for very long with Alfa Romeo, because look at this here, Will leading the Grand Prix in China for that McLaren team. His teammate Danny has disconnected from this one, so no points coming home for him. He was running at about 7th position before he disconnected. He actually disconnected through the pit stop phase, and look at that. You've just, on his last lap, Will set his quickest lap. Can I actually just have a look? Oh, he has got a penalty, but yeah, that was his quickest lap. I won't look at the penalties for the rest of the Grand Prix, that is my mistake, but someone who has got a penalty, Carbon Fiber, once again getting a penalty. He is really racking these up today. So he's going to have to be careful, otherwise he might get disqualified. Believe it or not, I have seen people get disqualified from a race before just on penalties alone. So that is quite something, to be fair. As got a comment in the stream, I will read that one out because it'll be nice to see. Brandon Blaze. Oh, that is B Colt, isn't it? Alright. Been absolutely clattered by two people who should know how to race through my tyres. I did get a glimpse of it. You were running 3 wide, weren't you? Unfortunate, mate, today, mate. It wasn't your day, sadly for you, but come back next week, come back stronger. I'll be commentating over it, so don't worry about that one. And look at that, a big lockup, a double lockup from the Ferrari car of Alex there. He's starting to feel the pressure from Jay Clarkey, getting up good points for the Williams team. And if Super Scrub can also maybe improve on that 11th position, it'll be a double points finish for that British manufacturer, or they're not a manufactured team, they're using Mercedes engines for the Williams team, trying to catch up to the Ferrari Works team and the Renault Works team. And of course the American Haas team for the fight for the podium. Of course a penalty could turn this completely on its head. Right now one penalty for Will won't be enough to a penalty for Will won't be enough to give Big C the position. And I don't know how many penalties Big C has. I don't think it's that many, but we'll have to see later on the race. These two, those two have actually just kind of run their own races ever since the pit stop phase, after they have to navigate through the traffic themselves. Big C arguably held up quite a lot more than Will was, so he wouldn't be happy about that one. Arguably the man who was held up the most was Alex, being held up by B Colt for about 3 laps maybe. Here comes CRG Demon on Super Scrub. He has got vengeance after he got a drive through penalty for speeding on the virtual safety car. He's not going to get by here, but I'd imagine on the straight he's going to push. He's got little ERS left. So Super Scrub in the same boat as him though, not much ERS on either end, as he's going to still try and use up as much as he can. Super Scrub almost going to be defenseless as now the drag reduction system opened for the Haas car up towards the hairpin. Will Ben go for a dive bomb here? But he switches to the right hand side, into the braking zone they come, and that was an easy move for him, but he locks up, and there is Super Scrub slipping back up the inside of very deep there from CRG Demon. He lost out there, the CRG team manager. Unfortunate there for him with that lock up, and now Alex breathing down the neck of Davidos here for 4th position. Every point is vital, especially since you're fighting for the championship. As it stands right now, I believe that Alex will take the championship lead, or Big C actually. Big C running in 4th position at the moment. I will have a little rundown of the grid or of the championship order right now. Of course, I know that one is, oh my gosh, that's a big moth. Jesus, that landed on my glasses. That really scared me. Just a second, I'm getting the championship standings up. It is Big C currently leading the not Big C, Demon leading the championship. 4 points separates Big C and Alex. Davidos is 1 point ahead, but he's losing more points. So Big C, as it stands, will take the championship lead. That took a little bit of working out, but I got there eventually. So as it stands right now, Big C in the championship lead. Here comes Alex though, as I was waffling about there. Davidos going to be defenseless here, but he moves to the inside. Alex moves even further inside, as now up towards the hairpin, into the braking zone comes a Ferrari car. There's contact between the two there, as Davidos tried to make a switch back. Doesn't look like he got any damage, but Alex moves up into 4th position. That could save his championship fight with Big C at the moment. 18 points for 2nd and 12 for 4th, so 6 points will be the gap between those two in for this race, and only 4 points, so 2 points Big C will be ahead by if it stands this way. I'm sorry, it's actually 5 points separated between those two, so 1 point between the championship lead, provided that Demon doesn't get any points this race, because well, he's probably not going to get any points. He's actually coming to the pit lane, going to fit on a fresh set of tyres and maybe go for the fastest lap just for a bit of fun. He wasn't going to get any points this race, as yeah, there goes on the soft tyres. He's only got 2 laps to make this one work, so he's got 1 run here because he's got to make his outlap. As I'm saying this, Big C beginning to close up to the back of Will here, and if he slips into the 1 second gap, we know that Will has a 3 second time penalty. Look at that. He's catching Will. Will might have made a mistake here. He's running a little bit wide actually through there. This could be detrimental for his race. He was about 4 seconds up the road from Will. Now you can just see a microscopic speck on your screen. That is the McLaren car of PR1 Will. So it's not over yet. As I said earlier on in the Grand Prix, Connor can still win this one. He can take his first win of the season. The defending champion trying to come in here in season 13 and make it 2 on the bounce. The moth is still flying around my room, but I'm not scared of it anymore. It just kind of frightened me. It frightened me when it landed on my glasses. And there comes out the pit lane. That's a Mercedes car of Bankai Bullet, who's also going to try and get the fastest lap, but he's a lap down, so he's actually not going to get another opportunity to put in a lap, because we have begun the final lap of the Grand Prix. Will has led every race. He's don't think he's got the fastest lap. We'll have a look here. The detail. Oh no, it's going to be the fastest lap. Bankai Bullet does have the fastest lap at the moment. If Will can take the fastest lap, it will be like Grand Chelem for the McLaren driver, but that is looking highly unlikely with 21 lap old hard tyres. Big C following behind him, 3.1 seconds back. That is the gap. If Big C doesn't have any penalties, he will take the win if he can get into the 3 second gap, and he can see Will right up ahead of him. That's actually Bankai Bullet, who could maybe give it. Oh, Big C's just got a penalty there. Big C might have made a mistake that will cost him this race. Unless he had a penalty earlier on, he might, if he gets into the 2.9 second gap, and a little bit of a slide in the difficult traction zone, this could be the end of Will's race here. Of Big C's race. I don't think Will be touched at the moment, as now he comes onto the straight for the final time and into the penultimate corner for the last time. Will is going to take this win of the Grand Prix, provided he doesn't have a second penalty, or maybe even a third, I don't know, as Demon getting by someone there. But around the final corner comes PR1 Will. He's going to win this race on track. It is. Will Big C win this race? No, he does not. The gap stays the same as Shelley comes around the final corner. He's going to take the final spot on the podium. Will Alex take it from him? No, he won't. What about Davidos? He gets closer, but no for them. And they were really close between each other, Davidos and Clarkey. Jared going to take 7th position. Actually, Formula Jake jumps him on penalties. Dan the Snake in 9th, and 10th for Super Scrubbers. Keane drops down after penalties. Super Scrub picking up the pieces, getting the final point. Hasnane just missing out on that first point for Alfa Romeo, and his first point of the season. That is the end of the Grand Prix though, as can Demon set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix? Yes, he can. He snatches the fastest lap. No points for him though, since he's outside the top 10. Carbon Fiber finishes this race off, and Yambanator is the last driver to cross the line, and that is the end of the Grand Prix. We will have a race rundown, and then we will end that one. Super Scrub gets the driver of the day after making up the most positions out of anyone. Good drive from him today, and that is the end of it, as Will on the top step of the podium. He wins this Grand Prix. Second position for Big C, who now takes the championship lead. He is in second position for the day. It's his 3rd podium in a row out of 3 races. 3 podiums for Big C, so good job from him. And Shelley gets his 2nd podium, gets another podium here at China. He seems to be strong here, seems to like 3rd position, and we will now have a rundown of the race. It is winning the race, PR1 Will by 3.4 seconds on Big C. Shelley in 3rd, Alex in 4th, 5th for Davidos, 6th for Clarkey, then Formula Jake in 7th, 8th for Jared, 9th for Dan the Snake, Super Scrub in 10th, Hasnane in 11th, 12th for Kian, 13th for CRG Demon, Yamanator in 14th, 15th for Carbon Fiber, Danny, who's disconnected, he takes 16th, and Bankai Bullet in 17th. And your 3 DNFs from this race: B Colt, Jim Nervo, and SJM. And I'll just quickly run through the race directors of everyone, since the stewards will need it. If anyone wants. Oh, look at that, Connor got it on the final lap there, and I have to be quick here. I don't think I'm going to get everyone's race directors, unfortunately. No, I'm not going to be able to, unfortunate there. But that is the end of the race. I will see you next week out. Peace out, everyone. Have a good one.